Long before the roar of motorbikes echoed through the ridges of Nyandarua, there was a quiet valley called Gatheruani. To strangers it looked peaceful, banana groves bending with fruit, smoke curling lazily from evening fires. But the elders knew that beneath its green hills lay a soil thirsty for secrets. At the heart of Gatheruani lived Muriithi wa Enjoraj, a proud farmer whose laughter once filled the valley. Muriithi had inherited 15 acres of rich red land from his father, a gift said to be blessed by the spirits of the Mugumo tree. He was a man respected for his hard work, but feared for his temper. His homestead stood on the highest ridge, guarded by a fence of thorny apple and the restless cry of night owls. Every evening, neighbors whispered of the strange stone shrine hidden behind his granary. A place where no grass dared to grow and where even goats refused to graze. Inside the homestead, tension brewed like bitter Githuri beer. Muriithi's younger brother, Njenga, claimed that half of the land was rightfully his. Their late father's will, written in shaky handwriting, left room for dangerous interpretation. Njenga, hot-headed and hungry for wealth, accused Muriithi of hiding the real agreement. One moonless night, Njenga stormed into the compound, his breath heavy with chong'e. "You think you can bury the truth like rotten yams?" he shouted, his shadow stretching long across the courtyard. "The land is mine as much as yours. The blood of our father cries from the soil." But Muriithi only stared, eyes like burning charcoal. "Brother," he said slowly, "the land listens. Do not speak words you cannot swallow." Those who watched from the fence swore they saw a dark cloud gather above the sacred fig tree. The wind carried a smell like wet ashes. Even the crickets fell silent. That same week, strange things began to happen. At dawn, the family goats were found trembling, their eyes wide with terror. A trail of white ash led from the goat shed to the forbidden stone shrine. The morning after, Njenga's wife woke screaming, her skin streaked with muddy handprints, though the door was bolted from inside. The villagers whispered the name of Wanjiku the seer, an old woman who lived beyond the river. They said she could hear the dead in the rustling of maize stalks. But others claimed she was more than a seer. That her shadow sometimes walked ahead of her body when the moon was full. Desperate, Njenga sought her out. Under a crooked acacia tree, Wanjiku listened as he poured out his grievances. When he finished, she dipped her fingers in a gourd of dark herbs and said only one sentence. "The soil remembers every lie. And blood will always find its way to the surface." That night, dogs howled from ridge to ridge. In the homestead of Muriithi, the sound of dripping water echoed though the night was dry. He awoke to find footprints of wet red clay leading from his bedroom door to the stone shrine. But when he followed them, they ended abruptly. As if whoever walked there had been swallowed by the earth. By the next market day, the valley was alive with rumors. Some swore they saw a pale figure walking near the Mugumo tree at midnight. Others claimed they heard the late father's voice, calling from beneath the soil. And then, on a morning heavy with mist, a child discovered something half buried near the shrine. A small gourd sealed with black beeswax, its surface etched with symbols older than memory. Inside. When the child's trembling hands delivered the sealed gourd to the elders, fear rippled through the valley of Gatheruani. The beeswax seal was cracked and dry, but none dared open it. Everyone knew the old saying, "The gourd sealed in darkness drinks the breath of whoever breaks it." At sunset, a council gathered beneath the ancient Mugumo tree. Murang'a stood rigid, his eyes fixed on the gourd as though it carried the weight of every lie ever told. Njenga paced like a restless leopard, his anger sharpened by the murmurs of villagers hungry for a spectacle. Old Wanjiku the seer appeared silently, leaning on a crooked staff. Her shadow stretched unnaturally long even though the fire burned low. "Blood ties the soil to truth," she rasped. "Open the gourd, and the land will speak. But be warned, truth always demands a price." Njenga grabbed the gourd before anyone could stop him. With a swift twist, the beeswax broke. A gust of icy air hissed out, carrying the faint smell of iron and earth. Inside lay a strip of goatskin, brittle and stained with red clay. On it, in the shaky handwriting of their late father, were words that silenced the crowd. "To my sons, Murang'a and Njenga. The land belongs to you both. But only if you remain as one. Divide it, and the soil will drink blood until unity is restored." The villagers gasped. Njenga's face hardened. "This is a trick," he spat. "You hid this to steal my inheritance." Before Murang'a could answer, the ground trembled. The Mugumo tree groaned as if a giant hand had gripped its roots. From the shrine came a low moan. Not of wind, but of a man in pain. Suddenly, a thin stream of blood-red water bubbled from the earth between the brothers, staining the goatskin and the bare feet of those who stood too close. The crowd shrieked and backed away. But Wanjiku did not move. She raised her staff and chanted in a language older than the mountain. The bubbling slowed, but the red stain remained. "This valley has listened to years of lies," she said. "Your father's spirit will not rest until you choose unity or destruction." Njenga dropped to his knees, trembling. He looked at his brother, eyes wide with the sudden understanding that no court, no paper, no trick could outwit the land itself. Murang'a stepped forward. For a long heartbeat, the valley held its breath. Then the bubbling stopped. The earth drank the red water and sealed itself as if nothing had ever broken its skin. Wanjiku lowered her staff. "Remember, the soil forgets nothing. Guard your words as you guard your blood." The villagers dispersed, whispering prayers into the cold night air. The Mugumo tree stood silent, its leaves glistening like eyes in the moonlight.